on, everybody? Welcome back to another week of the weekly Roundup. I'm joined by Manny from Manny Reads Comics today. How you doing, man?
Hey, how's it going? I'm happy to be here, ready to talk some comics.
And this week we are a man down. Nick from Battle on Casket Comics. Dude is out enjoying some music at a concert. Gotta say, man, he doesn't know where his priorities lie, right? But
Yeah,
all right. But for everybody that is tuning in for the first time, what we like to do here at the weekly roundup is go through our weekly top 3 picks, talk about why we enjoy them, and then after that, we like to talk about what disappointment we may have for the week, whether that's a comic panel, a whole issue, some comic news that came out. Honestly, it doesn't matter as long as it relates to comics and heroes, something that just disappointed us for the week. And then we like to get a little bit more positive and talk about our favorite cover or covers for the week. And we finish it off with talking about what we're excited for the next week on our pull list. We've been doing a bracket for the year, and every week we choose one of our top pick was for the week, and it goes up against our top pick for the previous week. We are barely in week number 1 for this month, right? I think.
Yeah, we just have one thing for the bracket.
Yep, we just got one. And last week, for me, it was the final issue of Black Widow, which crushed me. Black Widow number 15. So that's from right now.
You said the final issue? Is that what you're saying? Did I hear that right?
Yeah.
The final?
Yeah,
okay.
The final issue. And it's a crime. I just want to talk about this for a second. It's a crime that Kelly Thompson and Lena Casagrande, they're just, it's just not fair. This is one of the best comics that's out there right now. So it'll come back. It'll come back, Manny. Okay. And the day that you finally read it, you're gonna love it the same way that you love Moon Knight. So just saying.
Speaking of Moon Knight was my top book last week, so it's currently the only one in my bracket. Moon Knight number 10 from last week was really great. I loved it. But yeah, I saw that it was your number 2. So
yeah,
it is what it is. Yeah.
But yeah, guys, let's get started with our favorite picks for the week. Oh, actually, before we do though, we have a fun little contest going on right now. In the description below, you can read all about it. But you have the opportunity to win 2 really cool comics. One of them is a Stormbreakers variant by Juan Cabal for X Deaths of Wolverine number 1, and also a Skottie Young cover. His covers are always dope for Devil's Reign number 1. So read all about it. Some cool comics that we love to give out. But yeah, let's get into our top 3 picks. For me this week, number 3 is Beyond Flashpoint Zero. And what's funny is that I wasn't even gonna pick this issue up, but Manny sent me a message and he was like, "Hey man, are you gonna read this?" And I said, I mean, yeah, I was thinking about it, but I was kind of on the fence, and I ended up getting it. I'm a really big fan of the first Flashpoint issue. Event. That's actually what spearheaded my jump into DC Comics, because I read that event, not having really collected any DC Comics, and that got me to get into the New 52, and that's really where I started reading DC Comics. So this was just a cool opportunity to get back into that storyline. And even though the art isn't my favorite in a lot of the pages, I like the overall setup and the overall premise of Thomas Wayne waking back up in the Flashpoint universe and immediately addressing what was my first question, like, how the hell am I back here? All the events that have occurred, him being pulled out of the end of the Flashpoint universe by Reverse Flash, being put on Earth Prime, the events that happened during Tom King's run, where he tried to stop Bruce from becoming Batman. All of the events that have occurred are mentioned by him, which I really appreciated that, right? And it opens up to it opens up the mystery of, well, how is he here, right? And I just really like the way that the story unfolded and the mystery that's being set up. It looks like Bruce is following the same mystery that Thomas is, just on Earth Prime. I don't really know how that's happening concurrently. I missed that, but by any chance, Manny, do you know, has that been talked about in any other of the like Justice League books or anything like that?
I don't think that's Earth Prime. I think they mention Earth Prime on the chalkboard and stuff, but the fact that we see Bruce with those mimes from like the Clockwork, or what was it,
Yeah, from, well, they're the characters that were
Doomsday
introduced.
Clock. Doomsday Clock.
Yeah, but weren't those mime characters originally introduced in Tom King's run, like very early on?
Maybe. I remember them. I remember first seeing them in Doomsday Clock, so I would have to see what you're talking about, because I don't know which one came first, right?
Yeah, and honestly, like my timeline's a little off, but he recruited them when they were going to Santa Prisca to get back Psycho Pirate, because he needed Psycho Pirate to heal Gotham Girl, and he ended up like recruiting them. And
I don't remember them there.
Huh?
I don't remember them there. I know what storyline you're talking about, but I don't remember them.
Yeah. Well,
that was a while back though, and I'm trying to forget it. So.
But anyways, yeah. So if Bruce isn't in Earth Prime, which is like the main like Earth or universe now, right? Where do you think that he is?
Well, I don't know if that's our Bruce Wayne. That's what I'm saying. Like, that could be a different Batman.
Gotcha. Okay. Interesting.
I don't know, and it's just the fact, because what is our Batman doing right now? Like, our Batman's currently in the Shadow War, so this is what I don't like. There's too many events going on right now, so like it doesn't make sense for him to be through this mystery while he's currently also in his own title.
Yeah,
dealing with Ra's al Ghul and his death and all that.
So, for sure. But yeah, I'm just enjoying the mystery, right? And the fact that all of the different events are being mentioned and they're being talked about, and some of the twists that come up in this issue are changing, what we originally know and saw from Flashpoint. So I like that we're revisiting this storyline, but there's some new stuff that's coming out of it that can, potentially alter or change not just that universe, but who knows, it could spill into our universe the same way that it's been done before, right? So yeah, I just like the overall unfolding and development of the story, and it caught me by surprise how nice it flowed. Again, the art was a little choppy, but the storyline was, it's kind of rough. But in a rare instance, the storyline was good enough for me to be able to overlook that. So, anyways, that's why it's my number 3 pick for the week.
Honestly, though, I can't give you too much crap for it, because it is my number 4 pick. But I want to talk about we saw a speedster at the end of it, right? And we're meant to think that it's Eobard Thawne Reverse Flash. What if it's Barry? Because I don't know if you read it. Did you read like the Infinite Crisis, the whole Injustice League or something like that?
I didn't know.
So the last time we saw Flash, he was stuck in his parallel universe that Pariah had put him in, where it's his like perfect universe. He's got his mom, he's got the Flash family, he's got his powers. He's got everything. And when the Avery, the other Flash, her and the other people, they found him, he got aggressive and he was like, I'm not leaving. Like, this is my home. Stop trying to leave. So they were threats to him, right? And he kicked him out. I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking, it gave like a little yellow flash or whatever, but I'm thinking it's Barry, and Barry kind of trying to keep his happiness. But that's
That'd be
that's a theory. It's a theory that I
interesting.
literally just came up with right now. So,
Okay.
but yeah, I don't know if you had any theories on that, or if you just thought it was Reverse Flash.
Dude, honestly, like I didn't even try and get creative about it. I just said Reverse Flash, but who knows? It could be another Barry Allen, other than the spoiler, other than the one that got fucking roasted.
Right? Yeah, definitely not that guy.
Definitely not that guy because he is dead.
He's done. Yeah,
Yeah,
no. I just
he's
hate. I don't like to look at the obvious. I'm like, all right, this is the obvious choice. This is
yeah,
what it could be, So,
yeah.
but
Oh, and sorry, very last thing though. Did you get at least a little bit of a man? And again, Marvel copies DC, DC copies Marvel. But did you get a little bit of a DC's trying to ride on the different well like timeline slash time master slash timeless event that Marvel's really focusing right now on their shows and the comics and all that, because that character that was like the little kid that was revealed at the very end, 100% being honest, I had no idea who the hell he even was. So I looked it up, and he's part of the team that Rip Hunter, like the all of that stuff. And I'm like,
he mentions it. Like he mentions like the time, whatever.
Yeah.
So like, I didn't get that vibe, but now that you mention it, it's like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
for sure. No, but for my number 3, it's one that I didn't expect it to be a number 3. I had it high on my list when I first started reading my books this week, but I expected it to get knocked down. But no, Batgirls number 5 stayed up there, and basically the premise is Barbara finally joins the fight, which is really great to see. She fights against the Saints. She uses not just brawn but her brain. Afterwards, Cass and Stephanie, they go to Arkham Asylum to stop Tudor. And while they're there, Barbara unknowingly goes to Spellbinder's house. She thinks she's meeting up with an old college friend, but of course it's a villain. And that's basically the premise of this book. But I just, I really loved seeing Barbara out there doing her thing. She stole a robotic dog. That was really great. That was really great to see. And Cassandra had a really great scene, great panel of her doing the whole Batman with the cape and everything. Great panel. Yeah, so it was a fun issue. Everyone's doing something. But yeah, but like that's all I really got to say. I mean, there's not really a negative. It wasn't bad. It was fun.
This is a great segue into my number 2 pick, and why I can talk about your number 3 pick, because Batgirls is my number 2 pick.
All right, so you know what? For me, it was number 4 was Flashpoint Beyond Zero, and then Batgirls is right above it. So that's hilarious.
Dude, it was a fun issue, and it was awesome seeing Barbara do her thing, not just at Batgirl, but I love it when she talks about hacking stuff, and when she is on the field using her computer skills, all of that stuff. And I'm also a sucker for like little sound effects, or little like when the letter depicts like what's happening. So I love that scene where she does hack and take over 505, which is the robot dog that the Saints use, where she throws like, I don't know, it was like a little gadget or whatever, and it sticks to Fido, and then the little word hack is like
yeah.
I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff, man. What I really appreciate about this issue too is the fact that they do get into into why the Saints are even around, right? Because that was one of the things that I think that we talked about when we discussed the very first issue of Batgirls is, dude, like Simon Saint's dead. Why are these guys running around like, worshiping him and saying that they're taking directions from him. And I like that they address that clarification that hey, it's actually Seer that's manipulating them, and that she used a deep fake. So I like that. I like the fact that that was brought up, and also I really enjoyed the the unfolding of events. At the very beginning, they finally took down the Saints. It was a dope battle, and then no time was wasted in moving on to the whole
Tutor.
issue with the whole issue with Tutor and Spellbinder. But it didn't feel jarring, right? It was a nice flow into, hey, we took care of that. We're still on a mission. We got a lot of stuff, going on going on tonight, and the way that it transitioned into the next event or adventure, I like that. It was fluid, right?
And they explained it pretty well. They were like, I thought these guys were supposed to be really tough, and then Barbara's like, no, they are tough, but they're not Batgirls. Like they're not Batgirl tough. So that's a good way to quickly explain what's going on. Yep. Another thing that I remember complaining to you guys about was that there's no way that Barbara doesn't know that they're not driving around this lame scooter that she gave them, right? Like they got this. I forgot what the car's name is. Mondo or something. Bondo.
Best car. The best character.
And I was like, there's no way that Barbara doesn't know that they're not that they're driving this Bondo car around. And in this one, they finally acknowledge. She's like, you think I didn't know? Like I knew, I just didn't care. Like that's what it is. But so I appreciate it. That made me. I think that was another reason I was like, all right, it's starting to get a little bit better. I'm starting to like this a little more. So
yeah, man, it's good issue. And dude, that's actually the last thing that I was going to touch on before we move on is how awesome Bondo the car is, man. Like,
why does everybody love Bondo? It's a car, man. It's a car.
It's a car. Like seeing Steph and Cass just roll around in this car, man, like kicking ass, being Batgirls. It's dope, man.
Oh, speaking of them playing chicken with the Saints, that was a great little scene. That was good.
100%, man. 100%. But yeah, man, that's why it was my number 2 pick. So kicking it back off to you.
So immediately back to me. Number 2. This is funny. So I guess at one point, I don't know, I was just maybe mad or something, but I removed this book from my pull list.
Oh, interesting.
And then like a week before, like last week or something, I realized I didn't realize that I removed it, but it had been removed, and obviously it had to be me. But then I was like, you know what? I don't want to remove this yet. I'm going to pick it up anyways when I go through. I put it back on my pull list, and Superman number 10. I am surprised, and I was really happy that I grabbed it because I was like, maybe the world's trying to tell me I need to remove Superman, right? But no, this issue here got me. In this issue, Lex convinces the public that John is a threat. He murdered this person, and then Lois comes in, and I felt that cringe of here comes mom to save the day. Here comes mom to say leave my boy alone, kind of thing. Right. But she handled it pretty well, and John handled it pretty well. Like John didn't show up until he needed to show up. But she humiliates Lex, which he's not happy about. And then Batman arrives, and he tells them, "Hey, you guys pissed off Lex, and you also pissed off the president of Gamora. So you guys are going to be put into witness protection, Justice League witness protection." And it's a little awkward because Jay
never heard of that before. Justice League witness protection.
Oh yeah, they have like the houses and everything. But Jay is there with him when he announces that, and John's like, "Hey, well, he's got to come with us." And he's like, "Nope, this is just for you and Lois. That's it." So it's a little awkward. And on the way to the safe house, Batman does say, "You can't trust this guy. I know who he is. I know where he comes from.
Jay?
You can't trust the truth." Jay, yeah. So I was like, it reminded me, because I remember talking to you about it after like the first issue of saying like Jay is fishy. Jay is he's definitely the villain. Remember?
100%.
Right.
100%.
but reading on through these next 9 issues, I completely forgot about it. I was like, no, Jay's honestly doing the right thing. He's just being a good reporter. He's saved John and he's been there for John. That I completely forgot that I thought he was a villain, and then now Batman comes in and he's like, you can't trust him. Yeah. So that was one of the reasons I really like this issue. Another one is there are a few tropes that I'm always gonna love, no matter what. I will never find it cringy. I will always love it. And one of those, they all showed up here. A hero defending their mother, no matter what. Mom gets pushed down, hero shows up, pissed off. That's amazing to me. Like we saw it in the Man of Steel movie, right? Yeah. So that happened here. John showed up, grabbed or not Lex's hand, but like he grabbed like some bodyguard's hand, and he's like, "Don't, just don't touch my mother." Like it was just a satisfying scene. Superman, in any essence, whoever's holding the title of Superman at the point, anytime Superman gets surprised by Batman, like, how are you here? I didn't hear you come up. What are you doing? And the answer is I'm Batman. Like, that's it. Like that's it. I always love to see that. And the last thing is when a mother or a parent tells their kid, I know. So like for anything, here's a secret. Here's a secret that I want to tell you, and that I've held it, and blah, blah, blah. And then they reveal the secret. It's this huge deal. And the parent's just like, okay, like I knew that. It's not a big deal. So in this scene, obviously John reveals that Jay's his boyfriend, and mom's just like, I know. Like of course, I've seen the signs, and he's like, oh, you're not mad, you're not upset or anything. So that was just a good scene. All in all wrapped up, all those tropes. I love to see them, and they were all in this book. So Superman number 10 had to be my number 2 because it's good. Did you not read it?
No, dude. I haven't. Honestly, I dropped off on the last issue that I picked up was issue number 7 or 8. I think it was like 7 or 8, and it just because it kind of started falling off for me, man. Like you mentioned, and I'm like, I think this is enough. Like, I definitely plan on coming back to it and just reading it later. Maybe like once it gets released, like on the online app. Definitely plan on continuing. But your high endorsement of this issue, who knows, man? Maybe I'm gonna pop my head back in a little bit sooner than what I initially thought.
Even before I read the issue, I was telling myself the same thing. I was like, I think I need to read maybe 1 or 2 before I drop it. Like drop it in a good spot, and because it's just like you said, it hasn't been great. It hasn't been bad, but it hasn't been great. Like maybe I can use that spot in the pull list for something else, but it wrapped me back in with this.
So. Okay, damn, man. All right, then I gotta check out that issue because all of those tropes that you talked about, I also love them, man.
Yeah, they're good.
I love them, man. And dude, I don't know why, but I don't like Jay. Like I don't, dude. I just don't trust him. I don't trust him from day number 1, man. And
he was too good. He's trying too hard to be good. Like he's saying all the right answers. Nah.
Yeah, no, man. Like I feel like he is going to leave John's heart just absolutely shattered, man. Like he is going to be like, I don't know. I'm trying to find an example of like a hero's first love that just absolutely crushes them, man.
Not even that. I think he's a villain in general. Like I don't even like this is not even romantic. Like this is just he's a villain.
I mean that's why he's gonna crush his heart, dude. Because I feel like he is a villain. He's manipulating John for something. I don't know what it is, but I don't trust him. Could be wrong, and it could just be Batman being Batman, where he says like don't trust him is like the way that he would.
But the thing is, though, Batman said. The thing is that Batman said, I know who he is, I know who he works for, and I know where he's from. So it's like, oh, what's going on here?
Yeah, I don't know. So, but we'll see, man. We'll see, right?
Right. Yeah.
I think you might be happy about this one. I don't know. We'll see. But my number one pick for the week is gonna be adding another Tom Taylor win to our Tom Taylor counter.
Do we have the same number one?
No, what? Seven Secrets, man.
7 Secrets.
7 Secrets.
We haven't had a Tom Taylor count in a while, honestly. It's been like 2 years.
You're right, man. Because he was on fire, man, for like the first, I don't know. Yeah, man, he was on fire.
Wow. Yes.
But the moment that I read 7 Secrets, I knew there isn't going to be an issue.
First page.
Yeah, dude, I was like, yeah, there's not going to be an issue that's going to beat it. But basically, just a quick rundown of this issue. Here, things are finally coming to a head. Caspar is chasing Amon and Kanto because they've gotten hold of, presumably, the one secret that is going to change everything and is going to change the tide of this, war in their favor. And it's a baby demon. It's not like the big crazy demon that they've all seen in the visions of the future, but it's this baby demon that is supposed to become that destructive force. And in order for this baby demon to grow up into that destructive force, they need to take it to the land of the fairies, because there is there's like a kind of like a portal or a dimension where time flows differently, and in essence time flows much faster, so they'll be able to make this demon grow much quicker. And the moment that they enter the land of the fairies, Caspar ends up sensing that, and so do the rest so do the rest of the inhabitants of the fairy world. And the reason why Caspar senses that is because it's finally revealed that Caspar himself is a secret. Yeah. What exactly he is, we still don't know. But it's seeming like him and this demon, their destinies are intertwined. And again, why what exactly he is, we don't know. But a lot of different battles and events ensue, and it ends up being this issue. I'll leave it to you, Manny, if you want to spoil it. But the cliffhanger for this issue, like, I did not expect it. Even though I've gotten used to Tom Taylor, I still didn't expect it, and it still left my jaw almost on the floor. Like, how the fuck could this have happened? So that's a quick rundown. Why it's my favorite issue is because of the pacing. It was very fast paced, which at times can be a detriment to an issue because you don't get a lot of characterization. You don't get to spend a lot of time with each character and the interactions that they have. But this issue warranted that fast paced, high octane action. Like, the stakes are high, everything is on the line, and you felt it, and you felt how important it was for Caspar to get to where he needed to go, for everybody to mobilize, make battle plans. I enjoyed all of that, so it was just a great action-packed issue, and there were some character moments though that I really enjoyed. My favorite one being, and one of my favorite characters actually, it's not even really a main character, but it's the Queen of England.
Yes.
Dude, she is just awesome, man. Her name's Rada,
Jetta.
right?
Rada? Jedda.
Jetta, yeah, sorry, Rada. Jetta, like she is just awesome. There's one scene where they're in the fairyland, and I'm assuming this is supposed to be like King Arthur.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I don't know.
They don't actually name him by name, but they're all talking about the battle that they're going to go into, and Queen Jada and him have like a quick exchange where she says, "I'm the Queen of England," and who we think it is King Arthur says, "Oh, that's funny. I was once the king." And he says, "If you're a true warrior, you'll be able to lift this sword out of the stone." And he pulls out, like what is presumed to be Excalibur.
No, he says Excalibur. Like that's Excalibur.
Right, but when he first pulls out the sword, he doesn't say Excalibur. So at that point, we're pretty sure that it's Excalibur, because he says, if you can,
pull it out of the stone.
Put it out of the stone, and he like slams it into the stone, and he's like talking, and then she goes, "Oh, so like and then it cuts to another scene where she says, "Oh, so it's mine to keep." So off panel, she just literally, walks up to it, grabs it, and then he says, "Excalibur." And it was just it was just like a hilarious scene.
I love that. I absolutely love it, because like you said, everything, like, we're pressed for time here. We don't really have time to waste. They didn't make a whole scene of it or anything. It's just off screen. Thanks. Appreciate it.
And it was just dope seeing her, like, holding Excalibur, and later you see her going into battle, just demolishing enemies with the sword. So that was like my favorite scene. But Manny, take over, man. Like, hopefully I didn't,
no, that was definitely one of the reasons I love this issue. But there were many, like, they made me sad for Titus, and I hated Titus. You know what I mean? Like, how that's just storytelling.
Redemption arc completed, right? Redemption
arc.
Completed.
Exactly. Like, he got everything. He is a great guy. Like, no, there is no question about it. But this is why I love this story. Speaking of having a question about it, and I don't know if you feel the same way, this issue is going to end at 18, or this series is going to end at 18, I guess. And this was issue 16.
Yeah, we got 2 more.
And issues 1 through 12, I guess. The Order of the Seventh, good guys. Amon's group, the Seekers, they're the bad guys. Issue 16, who are the bad guys? Who's the good side here? Because they're over here saying that if Casper actually grows into his power, he's gonna take, like, the world is gonna be under his rule. It's gonna be everything Casper, or the world's gonna be under this demon's rule. So, like, which one is better, right? And then Casper is saying some very bad guy things. Like, one of the quotes he says is, if you're wondering if you're on the good side or not, look at the claws and fangs on your side. And it's like, well, you're being a little judgmental there, just because immediately I'm like, that doesn't mean you're a bad guy if you have claws and fangs, man. Like, and so, and then Amon, on the other side, on the flip side, Amon is over here self-sacrificing himself, making decisions and sacrificing his own body instead of people that he loves. He's like, you already sacrificed enough. I'm going to do this. I'm going to take on this burden. And that is a very hero-like thing to do.
Yep.
Obviously, he comes back as a demon, but like it's still like, is the demon the bad guy, or is Casper the bad guy? We don't know. Honestly, we'll find out on the 18th.
Yep.
And just like you,
like, sorry to interrupt, but yes or no, that scene where he comes back and we see him transform, and open his eyes into the demon, bro, that was creepy as fuck, wasn't it?
That was great. That was just amazing. That's just a cinematic scene. That was a cinematic scene, no matter what. Like, and the last thing I'm gonna say is, I'm glad that you forgot, because I forgot, and so I won't spoil it, just like you said. But that last scene shocked me. But immediately I remembered the first issue.
Yep.
And if you go back to the first issue, it shouldn't have shocked you. They told you exactly what was going to happen.
No, right. But again, it was just it just happened, and it came, and I'm like, oh my god, the first issue. How did I forget?
That's right. Oh shit.
Yep.
So yeah, as soon as I read it, I was like, yeah, this is number 1. This is it. Yep. So many good things about this book: art, stories, lettering, emotions, and again, the question of who is the good guy and who's the bad guy. I've said it from the very beginning. I've always not fully been against Amon. Amon's always had a good point. He's always had well, he's not wrong, kind of thing, and
Yep.
and it still continues. So I just can't believe that this is gonna end in 2 issues. Like,
I know, man.
I don't know how he's gonna do it. Man, that's it. That's my top book.
Cool. Yeah, man. I think that when we come to issue 18, this is just what I'm worried about. It's either gonna be one of an absolute great ending where everything comes together and you're satisfied. You may want the story to keep going, but you're gonna be satisfied with the answer that we get, or it's gonna be, I'm just afraid it's gonna be one of those like, come on, man, this can't be the ending. Like
Right.
there has to be more,
Right.
because I feel like we have so much to tie up. So many loose ends to tie up in 2 issues. I still want to know how. Oh my god, forgetting his name, but Caspar's dad.
Mhm.
I still want to know how he came back to life, because he said now's not the time. We'll get into this later.
Yeah.
You know. But anyways.
But you bring up a good point, because when you said that, my first thought was, kind of like Dark Ages, and then I realized that they were both written by the same people. Dark Ages was a great series, but that ending was kind of just too nicely tied up, and I left a lot of questions, and it was a happy ending, and that was it.
Yeah, for sure.
This I mean, I'm gonna want a happy ending, but like not like that. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. But.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, you got a good point.
We'll see though. But yeah, those are our topics for the week. We're gonna get a little bit negative right now and go into our disappointments for the week. And you know what, man? I honestly didn't have any for the week. For the most part, I was fine. I was happy. I was good. I thought that I was gonna end the week on a good note, and then I had to see the announcement for All Out Avengers, man. Like, bro, like, so at first I was super hyped because I saw Spider-Man. I'm like, man, I haven't seen Spider-Man be part of the Avengers in forever. And there's a lot of people that don't like Spider-Man being on the Avengers because he's the everyday hero, the everyday man. Noise. Like, no. Spider-Man on the Avengers is dope. He brings the absolute most perfect comedic relief. And dude, he is an Avengers level hero. He's been shown time and time again that he can hang with them, and that, you know what, he saves the day like many times over in ways that the rest of the Avengers crew wouldn't have thought of saving the day. But I then end up like reading the premise, man, and while the premise is supposed to sound cool, the whole premise is that these stories are gonna drop you into a conflict, into a storyline that's already in the middle. You don't know what's happening, and it's supposed to be a very, I don't know how to describe it, a very disorienting, kind of fast-paced action, kind of story where events are going to unfold, and it's supposed to be chaotic. And I don't know, man. I don't know if I like the premise of that, and I rarely like to openly talk bad about my dislike of certain artists, because I know that every artist puts in work and yada yada yada. But dude, like, the main artist on this one is going to be Greg Land, and come on, man, like.
Yeah, no, I feel you. As soon as you said Land, like, and Greg Land, I've seen him a lot in Spider-Man variants and stuff, and I'm always just like, why do people want this? Honestly, like, it's not horrible. It's not horrible. But
no, and I understand why Greg Land gets brought into into certain books or into certain issues. He's an artist that can pump out art very quickly. You need to meet deadlines. You need to do this. You need to do that. Like, I get it, right? But when it's in Avengers, when it's a book that has the Avengers, banner on it, and especially after seeing my boy Spidey just mistreated, man, for like the last couple of years, I got excited that I'm finally gonna see him in the Avengers, but it's in something like this. Just it just grinded my gears, man, and it made my disappointment of the week. So yeah, that's it for me.
That
What about you, man?
I definitely get that. No, I didn't really have a disappointment either. I read my books. They were they were good enough. They all passed the bar, I guess. None of them were completely horrible. I can't think of anything.
No, it's good, man. There's nothing wrong with having a week, man, where
This,
nothing goes
this
wrong.
isn't really a disappointment, but I did read somewhere that Peter Parker may not be Spider-Man for very long. That the premise of the next reboot is going to be that he wants to get out of the superhero game. So I was just like, he he was just gone. Like, just let him be back. Let him have stories, 2 3 issue stories. Have like 5 of those, and then do a whole event if you want to. But I think Marvel has gone to this thing, Marvel and DC, honestly, where they just everything has to be an event. Every little thing, it can't just be stories, like Batgirls. Batgirls is a 6 issue story. It's an ongoing, but the story that it's currently telling, it's part 5 of 6.
Yep.
So it doesn't need to be into the Shadow Wars. It doesn't need to be brought into that. It doesn't need to be brought into the whole Dark Crisis, which eventually it will, and I'm sure they'll mention it, but like it's not the premise of the whole thing. So just hearing that Spider-Man might not be or Peter Parker might not be Spider-Man anymore,
Bro.
it's disappointing. So
I didn't even read this, man. Otherwise, that would have been my disappointment for the week, man.
it was like it's a very, very out there theory, and like there were evidence backed by it. Like I read the whole thing and I was like, yeah, I could see what you're saying, but it hasn't really truly been announced. Right now it's just a theory. So that's why it wasn't really truly a disappointment. It was because it's like this is just someone talking, and that's it. But we'll see what happens.
We'll see. Now shifting gears into something a little bit more positive. We want to talk about our favorite covers for the week. And for me, this week was really light, man. In terms of covers, something pretty rare for me. I didn't get any variants, man.
It's me neither. That's what I was thinking.
There was not one variant cover or anything, really out there that just blew my mind this week, which is good for my pocketbook. But my cover for the week is Noctera #9, just a regular A cover. It's a great cover by Tony Daniel, man. Like I just really like it. It's very, very cinematic. Colors are great.
Definitely cinematic. I could see that being like the poster of a movie if it ever comes out as a movie. I could see that.
Yeah, very, very cinematic. Noctera #9 made my number 4th pick of the week. So it's pretty cool that it's a cover made my cover for the week. But that's it, man. That's very, very brief, very light.
Well, we got pretty close on our picks, man, because Noctera is right below Flashpoint Beyond for me. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Now, for me, I just lied to you. I just told you that I didn't buy a variant cover, and that's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
But I also picked up this new book that just came out, new #1 from Dark Horse called Breakout. And before I even bought it, I liked the variant cover for it. It's a yellow background. The guy's punching the screen. It's like he's like breaking the fourth wall. It's very nice. I didn't buy it though. I gave it to my shop owner, and I told him, hey, if I don't like this book, I'm gonna return it. But if I do like it, I'm gonna return and buy a variant cover as well. Like I'm not gonna return the A cover. I'm saying like I'm gonna return and buy this variant cover.
Yeah.
But so will you please just hold it back there for me? So next week I'm gonna pick that up. So I can't. It's not my variant. Exactly. It's waiting. But my top cover of this week is the image with a little exclamation point. #1 with Radiant Black reading a comic book. It's got his little black hole. Again, solid red cover or orangey cover. I like it. That's what really drove it out for me. If I hadn't, and that was a last minute buy, I wasn't gonna buy that book. If I had not bought Image, I don't know if I would have had a favorite cover this week. Like they were all fine, but they weren't.
Yeah.
Like, this is gonna be the best cover of this week for sure.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, like you said, light week.
And that actually would have been my favorite cover as well had I picked it up. But last minute, I ended up putting it back on the show because
good choice, honestly.
Because at $6.99 for an anthology, like kind of thing, I just tend to stay away from them. But that would have been my favorite cover had I picked it up. And for everyone that's watching, we're trying to stick to favorite covers that we actually buy, that's actually part of our collection, that we actually could contribute to. Otherwise, that would have been my pick of the week.
Of course, because then like there's too many choices out there.
Yeah,
if it wasn't one that you bought.
Yeah, for sure. But before we actually get into our into what we're excited for next week, we just want to give you guys a quick rundown of our Fallen Partners top picks of the week this week, because Nick's not around. But for him, it looks like Image number 1 that you're talking about right now, Manny, was Nick's number 3 pick. His number 2 pick was Mighty Morphin, and his number 1 pick was Batgirls. Batgirls.
It's very on brand for Nick. Let me just put it there. That's all I'll say. Oh, you know what? Speaking of Nick, I wanted to give him credit. The only reason I picked up Image was because Nick was talking about it last week, and he kept like telling what stories were going to be in it. He mentioned Shift from the Radiant Black universe. Yeah. So while I was at the shop, I was like, okay, you know what? Fine. I'll pick it up. Fine. I like the cover. I want to read about Shift. Nick got in my brain, so I picked it up. So I'll give him that. But nice. That's it. That's the last one for the year that I give him.
But for next week, Manny, why don't you go first, man? What are you excited for next week? Tell us.
Next week, there's a couple of things coming out next week, but the one that I'm most excited for would have to be. It's a toss-up between Animal Castle and Nice House on the Lake.
Okay. Oh, nice.
Nightwing's there too. And there's a new one coming out called from Scout Comics called Triskel or Triskelly. I don't know. I really just bought it for the cover. So hopefully the story is good. I'll let you know.
I gotta check it out.
But yeah, no. Animal Castle again. Animal Castle. I'm excited to read it, but I don't think it's gonna reach that top pick because it's that slow burn kind of feel. And this is just for those that are watching to try to get some points. So like I wouldn't put Animal Castle as my number 1 for your guess. But you know what? It could, read it and then find out and then what it is. But right now, if I had to choose Animal Castle, Nice House, and Nightwing. Forgot about Nightwing.
Nice. You know what, man? For me, like you mentioned, Animal Castle. I always look forward to Animal Castle. For everybody watching, it's made my list a couple times. It's a book that I hold very dear to my heart. I think it's a very magical book, so I am very much excited for that. But that was a given, just because it's Animal Castle, right? The books that I am more excited for, not more excited for, the books that I'm excited for next week that aren't necessarily givens is actually Slumber number 2.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to Slumber number 2. Number 1 was kind of a surprise hit for me, man. I really wasn't expecting to like it, but it was good. Good mystery. Very, very quick, very brief rundown for anybody that hasn't read Slumber number 1. It's basically a bounty hunter that goes into people's dreams and kills their nightmares so that they can rest peacefully. That's what it is, guys. But there's a whole mystery behind why she does this and someone in particular that she's searching for in the dream world. So
and
it's
I do
pretty cool.
I do have a review here on this channel as well. So if you want to check out their review,
guys.
feel free to. You can see the inside art and everything. So
yeah, there you go. Check it out. And honestly, Manny does some really great reviews. Gives a really good, rundown of the premise, the events that happen, and he really does provide some great visuals, so you can feel, the overall art direction and the overall premise of the storyline. So check it out, guys. The other book that I'm really excited for is World's Finest #2. Just because World's Finest #1, that to me is comic book storytelling at its basic, but at its best. Yes. It's what classic comic storytelling is all about. And you combine that with Dan Morrow's art, just made for a pitch perfect debut issue. And I feel like issue #2 is gonna, keep that momentum going. So I just really can't wait to look at Dan Morrow's art. And Mark Waid, to me, is a great storyteller. Again, I think he did a wonderful job with issue #1. Really looking forward to #2 because I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
The only reason I didn't mention World's Finest is because I don't want to overhype it for myself. I don't want to get too excited,
That's right.
Then it fails. But I really, that is another one I'm looking forward to for sure. Good call on that.
Yeah, cool, man. And of course, Nightwing, Night's House. Those really have never disappointed, for me. So, yeah, man. I think that next week is going to be a good comic week and a little bit heavier than this week. So, looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. The show, man. That went pretty quick.
Yeah, but yeah, everybody. That wraps it up, for us next week. Again, check out the description on the fun little contest that we got going on. We really want to give these comics out. And hopefully, if we get enough participation, we really want to continue having these kinds of giveaways, give out some really cool comics because we really appreciate everybody that watches our show. Please subscribe, like, leave a comment. As always, let us know what books you're reading, what books we should be reading. If you agree with any of our picks, if you disagree with any of our picks, let us know your thoughts. We'd really like to hear feedback and what your thoughts are.
Honestly, disagreement up there because I do love to argue. So put them in the comments.
Put them in the comments, guys. But yeah, thank you everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you next week on the Weekly Roundup. Bye, everybody.